Hey guys, what's up? How's it going? I'm Enrique and this is Easy Pictures to Draw. What's up? I got a little thing here with my hair. A little shiny. Anyways, hope you guys are having a great day. I was, for the most part, just kind of hanging out. So let me get to the point of this. The question is using reference cheating? And this is a question that comes up a whole lot, and this is actually something that I have personally fought with like crazy, like this kind of conflict. When I'm using it, it's like I feel bad, I feel like this is total cheating. Don't feel that way, because that's going to hinder you. I can give you a few suggestions. First off, professionals, like the best of the best, use reference. There's just certain things in lighting and form and things of that sort that you need to kind of shortcut. You don't have to recreate the wheel every time. Let me give you a couple of examples, right? If you're doing comic books, right? If you're doing comic books, you're using the reference, but you're not completely copying it. You're following the pose, and you've seen those reference kind of files that they have, those books, and those books, they all have like let's say a person and with dressed up like in cosplay or whatever, and they have them in like different poses, like they spin them around, and that's for kind of the benefit of the pose and how things are going to overlap, so that you don't have to kind of rack your brain. You don't have to use that brain power just kind of coming up with it out of nowhere. And you don't have to use it for everything. When you sketch in your sketchbook, you don't, whatever. You just do whatever you want. And even a lot of pieces you won't use them. But if you want that extra, it's almost like to increase your ability, you use it. You use it, and then, the idea would be that eventually you don't need it, or that you will learn from the reference material as well. And let me give you kind of some perspective on that. Look at Alex Ross. Right? Alex Ross is like one of my favorite artists. He inspired me so much. I love that guy. And the first thing I saw was Kingdom Come, which is that comic. It was a DC comic where he painted the whole interior. He painted the whole thing within, what was that? Gouache, which is essentially like a different form of watercolor. I like gouache a whole lot better. And you see the models that he shoots for the reference. They don't look exactly like it. When he draws Superman, or Batman, it's like he uses them for the pose, and you can see the character within, like the character and the life within his painting, but they're exaggerated, and he will move it around, but it is the same light source and things like that. Same thing with Martian Manhunter. Look at Norman Rockwell. That's a big one. Norman Rockwell is like one of my favorite artists of all time. And Norman Rockwell used a bunch of it, and you can tell, like, when you look at the reference and the subject matter, he took information from that, like, again, the lighting, form, certain things like that, and then he changed it. He kind of did this slight caricature thing to it. You gotta dare to use reference. I think that was I forget who told me that, and whoever it is, I'm sorry, I'm not accrediting you, but you have to dare to use reference, and you have to dare to be a professional. Professionals use reference. That's just life. You know what I mean? You haven't practiced something in a while, you're gonna have to look up reference for it. I can give you an assignment example that they gave me at Art Center. I remember one time they said you have to draw they give us science fiction examples, but they say draw maybe how do you say it? Maybe like a battered up scene, let's say they'll give you the scene to do an illustration of. And so the scene would be something like, it's the 1600s, forest area, there's like a campsite, and, militia army, some sort of militia will come in and, take over that area. So you have to know, and they said, for example, they'll say like, okay, it has to be 1600s, it cannot be 1500s, cannot be 1700s, has to be 1600s, go, do this assignment, and obviously it's not a real scene, but you have to look up what, things look like architecture at the time, they'll give us the area. What area is it? What were the soldiers of the era like, if there was any, in that area? What do they look like? So you have to look up this reference, and you're not just gonna go over there and learn, and you're not gonna have a photographic memory. You're not gonna know everything. So you need this reference. You'll take the kind of information that you need from it, inject it into your drawing, and give it life. I know, me personally, my opinion is I don't really like when people do photographic drawings. It's so impressive, and I don't think I could even do it myself. It's so impressive, but it is so mechanical, right? It's a little too mechanical for me when it's just a straight up photo, like it might as well be a photo. I'm not a huge fan of that. I like when people like put their own, their style into it, their own twist on it. Same thing goes for this. You take the good stuff to kind of put your drawing on steroids. If you're not using reference right now, gather up a lot of reference. I've done that. Everybody I know has done that. Every working artist has done that. You create this folder on your computer, and you look for reference. You just scour it. Some guys will even give you their entire folder, but usually it's better if you take your own photos. You go out and take your own photos. Let's say water, and you kind of like break it up into everything: water, dust, waterfalls. Poses looking downward, poses looking upward. It could be other drawings that you just take that angle of. It could be like architecture, Gothic architecture, cathedrals. Some guys have tons and tons and tons, like this huge hard drive, and they back up their hard drive with more reference. And you have all these books to work on. I scan a lot of books, and I put them, a photo I could only find in a book, I'd scan it, digitize it, put it into that folder. So I have this massive amount of reference to pull from anytime I need it. Doesn't mean I always need it, and it will help you learn it, but don't see it as a total crutch. It's not really. It's more like something to really, like I said, just something to interject in your drawing. But like I said, the point is, and I'm kind of rambling here already, but I was gonna say the point is definitely use it. Professionals use it. Use it. It's not cheating. It is awesome. You still have to have the capabilities to pull what you need from that reference. You still have to know how to shade anatomy. You still have to know what you're looking at. When you look at the reference, you have to know what you're looking at. So it's really, like I said, it's just the best thing ever. Okay, so that's part one. There's another thing when it comes to reference. There's something called photo bashing, and I'm not sure I've talked about it before, but you're going to see it all the time in video games, and that is a big debate, and I do not think it is cheating because it's really hard to do as well. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you what, if you don't know what photo bashing is, and it's weird too, because I don't really see it talked about a whole lot online, like hardly. I almost never see it on YouTube, and it's not like a secret, right? They'll tell you. But photo bashing, let me give you a quick example. So, if you want mountains in the background of your painting, and you're doing a digital painting on Photoshop, if you want mountains in the back, and you're doing this for a company, because that's almost always the reason why people do photo bashing. When you're working for a company, especially video games, they will say, okay, you got 3 hours to do this illustration or something like that. Where it'll probably doing an illustration, like painting the whole thing, will probably take you 3 days. So what you do is you take a photo and you interject it in the background to these mountains, and then you try to make that photo kind of seem like part of the scenery, and you try to integrate a photo with the painting that you're already doing, but you do it for stuff that's superfluous, like things in the back, some texture on the ground, you do it like things like that. You will interject photos to help your overall illustration. That's a different thing. I don't think that's cheating either. Some people do use it as cheating, where it's straight up composite. I mean, and that's a big debate as well, like how well you can composite, because I know a lot of the way some of the Transformers robots, some of the ways those guys were designed, at least with their some of the concept art, it's just photos, that you really, really mixed with digital painting, and some of it's like traditional drawing where they scanned it in. It gets really, really muddy. It gets really muddy. But photo bashing is really hard. I've tried it. I don't think I have any pieces with it exactly. I'm looking around like my room. I don't have any actual pieces with photo bashing in it. But most of the time where you see that in the game industry with especially backgrounds, because they need it. You know, they're on deadlines. They're on deadline. You have to do it. You really can't even survive without doing it, at least work-wise. Anyways, that's what photo bashing is. If you want to know anything more about it, let me know. There are other things. There is kit bashing. There's photo bashing where you actually use a 3D model and you paint over that 3D model. Well, again, it's a model you built, so it's not really, like, there's really no cheating in there. But I don't find any of this cheating because all this stuff is hard, you know, regardless. The last part was a bit of a tangent. So I want to ask you, do you find you know, using reference cheating or not? It's kind of, you know, I'm curious what you guys think, so post below and I'll talk to you later.